AITAH for wanting my wife to cut off a lifelong friendship because I was pressured in to have a threesome with her. This is a long one. My wife 27F and I 27F have been married for 2 years and together for 4, so still a young marriage. Occasionally we will have threesomes together with other people to spice things up. It has always been fun and I've never felt any jealousy because I always felt very respected. My wife needs to have some type of connection with this third person because she doesn't like having sex with strangers. So the third is usually a friend or one of her exes. Now I know having sex with her ex might sound a little crazy, but it never was an issue until this point. She stays friends with her exes and I never was jealous because I know how she feels about me and what I can bring to the table. Up until our honeymoon. Some background: my wife is from Latin America and we live in the US. For part of our honeymoon we went back to her home country and hung out with one of her exes. We will call this ex Marta. My wife and Marta dated when they were in middle school and were each other's first love. They dated a few years and cut it off when my wife moved to the US after high school. They continued to stay friends and still talk to this day. I never had an issue with this because my wife was adamant that what they had was in the past, and I am her only and best love. She is very good at reassuring me when I need it. So for the situation. As I stated, we went to her home country for part of our honeymoon and ended up hanging out with Marta. We had talked about having a threesome with her before, and I had gone back and forth with the idea. Sometimes I liked the thought, and sometimes I didn't like the thought. When we met her, this was my first official time meeting her. I didn't really like her personality, so I decided I didn't want to have the threesome. My wife, however, really wanted to. She claims that she just wanted to have a good time to this day, and that's all. Anyway, eventually my wife kept pushing and pushing for this threesome, so I gave in and we had sex with her. During sex, Marta seemed to get a little territorial over my wife, which made me feel a little weird, but I didn't think too much of it at the time. I started to feel weird after about a day. I started thinking to myself why my wife wanted to have sex with her so bad that she knew I was uncomfortable but continued to pressure me anyway. Again, she still claims it's just because she wanted to have a good time. I am at a crossroads. I know how much my wife loves me and this situation happened 2 years ago. We did have many conversations about this when it happened, and my wife apologized profusely for making me so uncomfortable and has said she should have acted differently at the time. Part of me really believes that she meant no harm, and Marta means nothing to her now, at least romantically. Though they still talk to this day because they are great friends. My issue is I still have very hurt feelings about the situation and why it happened in the first place. Also, Marta will occasionally tell my wife how much she appreciates the love they used to have and how Marta feels she will never find another love like it, which makes me feel weird and like she is disrespecting our marriage to say that. My wife just brushes this off and says it's because Marta always gets into toxic relationships and wants to find a love like ours. She doesn't think Marta means any harm by it. My wife and I are very against telling the other who they can and cannot speak to and thinks that is controlling. So yesterday when I was talking to my wife and telling her I was still having an issue with this subject, and my wife said that she would never stop speaking to Marta and I need to learn to control my jealousy, I was very hurt. I ended up crying and saying I would talk to her later. Then my wife looked very hurt and said I wasn't alone and that I could talk to her about it if I needed. So, I feel conflicted. Is me wanting my wife to cut off this relationship toxic? Should I just move on and assume my wife just wanted to have a good time? I am confused. My wife and I have different thoughts about boundaries, and whenever I have a stricter boundary, she feels like I am trying to control her. She hates jealousy, and a large part of me agrees, and I do believe my jealousy is my own issue that I need to control, but I don't know what a good and healthy boundary should be when it